Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Two Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're giving you guys our review of the great Misdirect by Between the Buried and Me. So, Vile has listened to this album non-stop all week, but, we heard a lot of his first impressions last week, and I guess I'll take the floor here just to give, my thoughts on what I think of this album before we see what you think after a week. Yeah. I think this album's totally awesome. For me, favorite tracks are Disease, Injury, Madness, and Swim to the Moon. But if I were to pick between those, though, I'd probably give the edge to Swim to the Moon. Swim to the Moon is like if you took a 5-minute song structure and turned it into a 17-minute song. And I may have mentioned that last week, and if not, I think I mentioned it after we were recording, sometime during the week. But, yeah, it's not the kind of long song that has that typical structure of first act, second act is quiet, third act is loud. It feels like just kind of a regular song. You keep coming back to your chorus that keeps playing. One cool thing about that chorus, by the way, the first time they play it, you have, the clean vocal starting parts of the lyrics and then the scream doing the second half for the four-line stanza of the chorus, which I thought was totally awesome. Amazing thing. The main riff is a cool riff, but the fiddle just makes it so much cooler. Like, just that alone, that sound, and that keeps coming back. And another awesome thing about this song is that you hear the same melody from Mirrors reused. Well, interesting. Not reused, but you'll hear the reference of it. You hear it, it starts at like 4-minute, 40-second mark.
Almost like a bookend kind of thing? First song, last song?
Yeah, they reference the first song in the ending song, and it's awesome. And that drum solo is just fucking insane. Every single time it happens, it's just, fuck, this is awesome. And I just love, you got the whistles, you got the blocks, you got all the Latin stuff playing behind them. It's incredible. And then, though, like, the blocks and stuff also continue into the riff that's playing right after the solo's over, too. Like, it keeps going, and that's a really cool, subtle thing. As for Disease, Injury, Madness, the third act is what kills me every time in that song. That jam, which has the solo in it, just fucking love it every single time. And, I feel like that song, maybe you could make the second act a bit shorter, just because it is, kind of breaking up the pace a little bit much, because you got really crazy first act, this quiet second act, and then the awesome third act. But I think all three sections are still really good anyway. Like, it doesn't bother me, because it's like, okay, this first section is sick, it's heavy. Okay, this second section is really cool and airy. And then it's like, once it gets to the third section, it's like, oh yeah, this awesome jam is going on. So I think this album just has so much to it, and I feel like every song I can say something good about. Like, Mirrors and Desert of Song are both beautiful tracks that paint such a pretty picture. And it's also, like I said, really cool that Mirrors is referenced in Swim to the Moon. Like, that's a really cool thing. So I just kind of went off a little bit there. What are your thoughts after a week of listening?
All right. Well, just to put this out there, and anybody that's watching this channel knows that progressive metal of this caliber is a hard sell for me. It has been forever, but I did enjoy this album. I played it quite often, and I had no problems with it while it was on. Whenever I tried to put the focus on it, as we like to say, and really try to pinpoint, like, what about this album can I come back to the video and tell these guys about, I was drawing blanks. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here, and I could probably talk about a million different things, but I was looking for things that really, like, stood out and impressed me. I felt like a lot of it was, I don't want to say average sounding, because these guys are very skilled musicians, but when it comes to this type of music, it did feel very run-of-the-mill. I didn't feel like I was hearing anything that I have never heard before, is basically what I'm saying. There were a couple standout tracks, which are the ones you talked about, Swim to the Moon and Disease, Injury, Madness. Now, why were these standout tracks? Well, I don't even know an exact reason, but these are the tracks that every time something cool happened, I went, oh, what song is this? And I pressed the button and looked at my phone and went, oh, it's that song again. Oh, it's that song again. It was those two songs I kept kind of going back to. I did have trouble throughout the week noticing which song was which. I mean, And again, that's a problem I have with this genre. Like, it's just, maybe it's me, it's my attention span when it comes to listening to music. I don't know what it is.
I mean, when it comes to this band, you know, they do throw a lot at you, and the songs are quite long, so you really kind of have to get a feel for what section is what. But I feel like the more you listen, the more you kind of understand how it goes.
Yeah, I understand how it goes, the structures and stuff like that, but if I just put the music on, if I put the album on and I'm doing some stuff or whatever, and then at some point I just start paying attention and listening to it, I won't know which song I'm on, right? Unless I physically check, right? I won't be able to go I'll know the section, I'll know what's coming next, but I don't know what song it is. So that's something that I struggle with. That's probably a me thing, not an album thing or a band thing. But one thing that I did, I might get hate for saying some things. One thing I did kind of, a thought that kept coming into my head is that this band to me falls in the same vein as bands like Metallica, Five Finger Death Punch, Motorhead. Okay, so the reason I'm saying that is because I find this is like dad rock. This is dad metal. And I say this because I'm listening to it, and a lot of the grooves, a lot of the sequences and sections and just portions of the song sounds like they were pulled out of the 70s. It sounds like I was listening to classic rock, or you could tell that's where these influences come from. A lot of these band members, you don't hear it. That's really, I'm surprised you're making bases.
I don't think you really hear a drummer play, you know, Jazz Brushes style from that era that you speak of, because you certainly hear that during the quiet section of Disease, Injury, Madness.
Okay, well, we're talking about there's like tons of different things. Obviously not every single thing is going to be from the 70s. I'm just saying there's a lot of it there that I'm hearing from classic rock. Like, especially, maybe I'm talking more guitar side or something like that, but it sounded very classic rock to me in a lot of ways. It really did. And it felt like this was like an evolution of classic rock, where classic rock came from. You started out listening to Rush.
That's true.
That's your roots in metal, okay?
That's correct.
And Rush is what kind of band?
Progressive rock.
A progressive rock band, right? So you can already, I know the wheels in your head are spinning right now, you can see how a bridge from that to a bridge to Beneath the Buried in Me can be made, because there are connections there, right? So that's the type of thing I'm hearing when I'm listening to this. So that's not a bad thing either. I want to put that out there. I'm not trying to diss it at all. It's just like something that kept kind of popping into my head. Like, this sounds old school. This sounds retro, right? But it is what it is. It's not a bad thing. That's how it is. So, yeah, I don't know. 2 songs kept coming out to me.
Which is 1/3 of the album.
Which is a third of the album. It's actually not the 2 longest songs, sorry. The longest song and the second longest song. But other than that, in the first impressions, I gravitated towards song number 1, Mirrors, and song number 5, Desert of Song, because they were the slowest songs, and for some reason they resonated with me the most.
I think part of that might be because, you know, like I mentioned in his first impressions, that there's a lot that's thrown at you.
There was a lot to unpack, yeah.
Those 2 songs are a lot easier to digest because they're shorter and more straightforward.
Exactly. But I still do like those songs. And when they came on, I couldn't also remember which one was which, because they both have very similar vibes. But I also went, oh yeah, here's that song that makes me feel good. It kind of puts me in that nice little place, right? So they're very zen. They're very zen, if I could say that. But songs like Obfuscation, and Fossil Genera?
Fossil Genera.
I never once looked at my phone and went, oh, this song. Nope. Those songs just came and went. They just happened and whatever.
Yeah, those songs, they're not my favorites from the album, but I still think they have really good moments, which is part of why I find this album to be so great, is that every song has something about it that's really good.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't think I have much more to say about it. I'm ready to rate it unless you have anything else you want to add.
No, I think we should rate this album. So what do you give The Great Misdirect?
Okay, well, like everything I rate, I try my damnedest to be objective. I try to find things that is just objectively awesome, regardless of how I feel about it. Now, I did enjoy the album. I didn't hate listening to it. It didn't feel like a chore. But I also didn't find anything that I was like, that's amazing. Oh my God, that's so fucking mind-blowing. Like, there's some good musicianship, gotta give it credit for that. But mind-blowing, couldn't find it. Not for me. I'm gonna give it a 6. I know that's gonna piss some people off. I'm really sorry, because I know there's fans of this band that die by this band, live by this band, die by this band. But there just wasn't enough there for me to justify a higher score. So 6 is for me. Sorry about that. I have to be honest with myself. That's it.
Fair enough. I think this album is great. I think this album has so much to it that honestly, if you can think of anything musical, you'll find it. Honestly, there's just so much content. Every song has something about it to take away. It gets my toe tag. Obviously, I mean, I picked it because it's that great, right? But yeah, a toe tag for me and a 6 from Vile. Still pretty good scores, guys. That's all we got for you today. So like the video if you liked it. Tell us in the comments below, what do you think of the Great Misdirect? Are there any albums that Vile should have checked out? I expected a lot of people to say Colors. Not too many people said Colors, but I mean, you should still check out Colors because that's
Probably
a damn good album too.
Probably take a look.
So remember to subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm TV Fish.
I'm Vile Self.
And keep the horns up.